Nicolo Bulega just beat Francesco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez in the same race, a world champion and a 9-time world champion, in front of 118,000 people, and it might be the most useless win of his career. At World Ducati Week, the one rider Ducati keeps refusing to promote led every single lap of the Race of Champions, and Bagnaia, Fabio Di Giannantonio and Marquez all crossed the line behind him. The headlines called it a harmless exhibition. The timing said something colder, because the win landed in the exact stretch where Bulega's MotoGP move quietly stalled. So what was he really doing out there in front of that crowd? And why does a result that changes nothing suddenly make Ducati look so bad? Here is what makes this more than a feel-good Sunday. Bulega is not a prospect hoping to be noticed. He is the man tearing WorldSBK apart, the most destructive rider Ducati has on any grid, anywhere. And he is the one rider they cannot seem to find a MotoGP seat for. That is the tension the exhibition dragged into daylight. A manufacturer that built its entire identity on winning just watched its most ruthless winner beat a field of its own MotoGP riders on a crowd day stage, weeks after his own camp admitted he is not the first choice. This was never about a trophy nobody records. It was about leverage and who actually holds it. So start with what happened at Misano. The Race of Champions is a 10-lap sprint, a Ducati Week showpiece that throws MotoGP names, WorldSBK riders, and one-make racers onto the same track for the fans. It is not a points race. Nobody puts it on a CV, and Bulega treated it like a title decider anyway. He took pole, led from the lights, and pulled a gap of 1.4 seconds by the flag with nobody able to answer him. Then look at where the MotoGP men landed. Bagnaia was the first of them home, and he was only 5th, over 7 seconds back. Morbidelli came in 7th. Di Giannantonio, 8th. And Marc Marquez, the 9-time world champion, the man Ducati bent its whole structure to sign, finished 12th. 12th, behind WorldSBK riders, behind one-make racers, behind a grid of names most casual fans have never heard of. Now, the easy read is that Bulega is simply faster than all of them. That is the read the highlight clips want you to take. But that is not the story. And if you stop there, you miss the part that actually stings. So were the MotoGP riders really trying? Almost certainly not, at least not all the way. The German Grand Prix at the Sachsenring is the very next weekend, and nobody risks a season on a crowd exhibition. Even Bulega refused to pretend otherwise. It's hard to say whether the MotoGP riders were pushing or not, he admitted, but our pace was incredible. Lapping in the 134s isn't easy for anyone, not even MotoGP riders. And be honest about what you were watching. A 9-time world champion, nursing a surgically repaired arm, does not finish 12th because he ran out of talent. He finishes 12th because there is nothing here worth crashing for. And here is the part every celebration clip races straight past. On paper, this win is worth nothing. No points, no contract, no data Ducati is forced to respect. If you are looking for proof that Bulega is quicker than Marquez over a real distance, this is not it, and Bulega himself will not sell you that lie. But that is exactly why it lands so hard. Because Bulega has spent season after season handing Ducati the real proof out in WorldSBK, and it did not move them an inch. So a meaningless exhibition becomes the loudest possible reminder of a case they already heard and never acted on. Listen to how he framed his own ambition. I'd love to beat them in a real MotoGP race, not just here, Bulega said. That is not a man enjoying a novelty win. That is a man pointing straight at the door he still cannot get through. And he kept coming back to the machine. It's amazing to do 134s on a nearly stock bike, he said. Apart from the exhaust and some tweaks to the suspension, it's what you can buy at the dealership. Read that as the challenge it is. He did this on a showroom Ducati. Imagine what he does on a Desmosedici. Except Ducati still will not commit. Not yet. Back in the spring, his own manager, Alberto Martinelli, said the quiet part out loud. Nicolo is not the first choice, Martinelli admitted. Otherwise, he would already be signed. Then he went further. As of today, we don't have a written offer. We are working and speaking with everyone, but nothing is defined. That is not a negotiation. That is a rider left waiting while everyone keeps smiling. And the grid tells you exactly how close he is. On Ducati's 2027 lineup, Marquez is locked in. Pedro Acosta is arriving from KTM. Joan Mir and Daniel Holgado take Gresini. Fermin Aldeguer moves across to VR46. 5 of the 6 Desmosedici seats are settled. The 6th, the VR46 ride Di Gianantonio is leaving for factory KTM, is the one Bulega is favourite for, and Ducati still has not put his name on it. He beat 2 men on Sunday, Di Gianantonio and Marquez, who already know exactly where they ride next season. He does not. That is the whole story in one image. So here is where it turns. Everyone watching that podium assumed they were seeing Bulega make his case. The outsider crashing the MotoGP party, forcing Ducati to finally notice him. That is the story the crowd wanted. It is the wrong story. Bulega's case was never the problem. He made it, completely, a long time ago. He has been the most punishing rider in WorldSBK on Ducati's own machinery, and it changed nothing. If results were the currency, he would have signed long before he ever lined up at Misano. The race of champions did not strengthen an argument that was already airtight. It just proved, in front of that crowd, that the argument was never what stopped him. That is the flip. People thought this was Bulega auditioning. It never was. The one open door already has his name floating over it, and what the win exposed is that Ducati can watch him destroy everyone on their own machinery and still refuse to just sign him. A manufacturer can survive a rival beating its riders. What it cannot survive is everyone finally seeing that its hungriest winner is the rider it refuses to use. So, what did the race of champions actually change? On the grid, nothing. Bulega is still on the outside, and Ducati has not budged. Anyone claiming one exhibition win forces their hand is not being honest. But it changed the story, and stories are how leverage gets built. For 2 years, Ducati kept Bulega frozen out quietly, a problem handled behind closed doors. On Sunday, that problem climbed onto their own celebration stage, beat their world champion and their 9-time champion, and made itself impossible to ignore. Every week, the move stays stalled. That image sharpens. A near-stock bike, a runaway win, and a rider the sport's most successful team will not use. A win does not rewrite the grid. It just makes the choice to stall him look worse by the day. Ducati can keep him waiting. They can no longer keep it quiet. So maybe the real question is not whether Bulega deserves a MotoGP seat. It is why the team with the most winning bike on earth is so determined not to hand him one. Do you think Bulega forces his way onto the 2027 grid? Or does Ducati let its best rider walk? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video appearing on your screen right now.